Hey everybody, this video is to help with the four square method for adding and subtracting fractions. There's nothing particularly different or tricky about this method, but since this is a four-step problem, we found that if we give the kids a space to use all four steps, they tend to do a little bit better. Step one, the LCD, that is our lowest. So in other words, the smallest common, so it's the same, denominator, so it is the bottom number in the fraction. D, think of D as in down, it's the down number. So with this problem we have 1/3 or 1 out of 3 pieces plus 2/5 or 2 out of 5 pieces. We can't simply add thirds and fifths together because they are different sizes, so we have to find our lowest common denominator. To do this, we're going to start with our two denominators. We have 3 and 5. So we are going to make a nice little list here. Step 1, there's our one denominator, 3. There's our next denominator, 5. And now we're going to simply write out our multiples of these numbers. We're going to remember our math facts. So 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, etc., etc. We're just going to keep counting by threes for a little while. You can stop after a bit and then try the next number, and if you don't have one yet, you can keep going. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. If we look at this list, we can see the smallest number they have in common is 15. Step 2, we need to rewrite one or both fractions using the lowest common denominator to make equivalent fractions. This is a step a lot of kids mess up on, so please pay close attention. To do this, a lot of kids also try to do this in their head, and I'll tell them over and over again to not do it in their head, and they keep doing it in their head, and they keep getting it wrong. So that means that it's not actually a good method. Okay, to do this, we need to change these fractions so that they are in their LCD. To do that, we multiply. And anytime you multiply a denominator, you have to multiply the numerator by the exact same number. So let's look at how many times it took us to get to 3. Here's where lots of kids mess up. They start counting after the 3. They say 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 times 4 is not 15. You always have to start with the number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It took 5 times to get to 15 here. So once again, I am taking the couple of seconds to write down what I'm multiplying by. If you don't do that, you're going to mess up. 5, 10, 15, so that's 1, 2, 3 times for the 5. And the reason I'm doing this, team, I am trying to get my fractions to be equivalent, right? They're going to be the same fractions. They're not different fractions. They're going to be the same amount, but they're going to have a common denominator. When we multiply out our fractions, here's another step lots of kids like to not do. They like to skip this one where you actually write them down. Now we just do some basic multiplication. 1 times 5 is 5. 3 times 5 is 15. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15. Step 3, add or subtract. Okay, we now have these two equivalent fractions. We now have 5 15ths plus 6 15ths. The way that we can add and subtract fractions, you don't add or subtract the denominator. That doesn't change. Remember, the denominator, it just tells you how many things it's sliced into. If you eat 5 of the 15 pizza slices for breakfast and 6 of the 15 pizza slices for lunch, that means you've now eaten 11 of the 15 slices. There's not magically 30 slices now. So that's our answer, 11/15. Step 4, in this problem we don't have to do simplest form or convert to mixed numbers. We'll be talking about this next week, but just so you know, in order to do that, we would have to find a number that we can divide 11 and 15 by. And the only things you can divide 11 by are 1 and 11. 1 won't change anything, and we cannot divide 15 by 11. Therefore, that's our answer. Yay.